From a poor green from a sweet collie, and she smiled as she passed me by. For she looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the sheen of her light brown hair. Such a coaxing elf, sure I shook myself for to see I was truly there. From Bantry Bay in the Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like a brown colleen that I met in a party gown. John Spetcher shook my head and I looked with a feeling red. And I said, says I, to the passerby, who's the maid with the nut brown hair? Oh, he smiled at me and he said, she's a jewel of Ireland's crown. She's Rosie McCann from the banks of the Bank. She's the star of the county town. From the Bantry Bay and Derry, Kerry and Galway to Dublin town. No one need I've seen at the brown Colleen and I'm
Hey! How are you? Oh, I think I might need my glasses. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Where are they dancing? Right here?
Right here.
Lovely as ever. Oh, you are so kind.
So they're going to do two different dances, but somebody gets a shot of you.
It wasn't easy to find Marie. It wasn't easy.
I buy rings.
Howdy fair, she was surely there and I dressed in
They're
the
going to do the
Sunday
first dance is
clothes.
going to be
With my
St.
shoes so
Patrick's Day
bright
set,
and my hat tapped
senior
right for a
music,
smile.
and then the next group, junior
Stroke a horse, I yoked to my plow from the rusty
they'll
brown.
be on the stage at
And I
different
smiled
times.
bright on my own fireside.
And Christine Morrison is the director, so I just make sure you thank her.
Is her name there?
Yeah. It's on the back, but I'll put it on here.
So let me just look at the lineup for a second.
Hey Roger, how are you?
No maid I've seen like the brown Colleen that I know with the county down. From Bantry Bay to Derry, and Galway to Dublin town. No maid I've seen like the brown.
And the Celtic, do I have the description of, is that in the program for the dancers?
It should be. This is your, like, speaking.
Oh, okay.
So as long as you know the times,
Okay.
and this is like the info on them.
check, check, check.
end of this song.
Got any good stuff?
They've already got us those elected officials in here. I have a couple of jokes, but nothing good. I wasn't going to go for the burn.
No.
I was just going easy.
Yeah, I might take a shot at the sun.
Oh, yeah, well,
So everybody's, the students are getting in place, ROTC's getting into place.
Okay.
ROTC, when they're ready, ROTC's are coming through here, set up in front of the podium, and then after this, the anthem's over, they're going to march out the other side.
It's Elizabeth Warren here already?
She is here. She just got here about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, good.
She was getting interviewed, so.
Okay, good.
I'd like this to be sort of seamless, if they can do it, to have the presentation of colors and then have the national anthem sung. Then I'll have everyone will stand for that, and then I'll have people, I guess, continue standing for
the
Irish, and then.
Yeah.
All right. So, should we just have them into place, or should we?
I'll have him come over for the next colors, but then he should know to go right in.
His father,
Craig, I don't think he's standing.
He's here. He's down there.
Yeah,
okay.
He's standing over to the side right now. Crahan or Crahan? Crahan, yeah.
Crahan.
I think they call him Crahan.
Okay.
Or maybe it's Crahan.
Want me to ask him?
Yeah, ask him.
Patrick, we have to cut you back 2 minutes. He's all excited. He said, "You'll give me 4 minutes."
Just so you know.
Great.
That way it'll be easier for the sniper. We're friends. I just want to make sure you heard him. But Father, you call it that we're friends. All right, listen. I might owe you a bit. Maybe two.
That mean exactly?
All right, so now we're...
Are you sitting next to me?
I'm sitting next to you.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How are you, my friend?
Everything good?
Yeah, you know, becoming Republicans right here. Warren Shaw seems to keep saying that the Lowell delegation says you're one of us. So, all the Democrats are mad at us.
You can't argue, you know?
Like I always tell them, once a House member, always a House member.
That's right. There's a lot of truth to that.
Doing well.
Thank you. You all right? How's your family? Good?
Kevin, you're all set with your jokes?
Yeah, well, you know, it's the same thing I did with the Patriots.
There.
Oh, there's Elizabeth. So we've got everybody.
We got everybody here. Do you think I should introduce the head table to, or just let each of us introduce as we go?
Yeah, probably. Brian will keep introducing around the room. We probably should start as soon as she says hi to the council.
We need the list anyway, so. Did you give your list to them?
Am I giving my list to them?
They were trying to
Here, guys.
consolidate.
Okay. We won't need to do that till later on once they pair it up. Once you separate it out.
Give. They have a star, they're not on any other. That was good.
Sheriff, how are you?
A couple of our guys sitting with your guys sitting with us.
Oh, good. Great. Thank you so much.
Your guy Christopher Gordon is torturing me. You know, he's my buddy. Right? Tortures me.
Oh, my God.
I actually, Mom, I saw your mom somewhere.
Yeah, my mom probably sure. Yeah, we should be around. Sure, say hello to you.
No, it wasn't in Massachusetts. It was somewhere out and about. Hey, Nikki, how you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, and I said, how's Peter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Oh, that's right. You saw you and Gail something.
Yes,
You did say that. You were talking about how they were going crazy before
Yes,
the parade.
yes. I
You did say that, yeah.
Gail and I were both saying, oh my goodness, it was so great.
Times have changed for you.
Yeah. What's up? Oh my God, you got everybody here. What's up?
Yep. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. If we could everyone could get to their seats, we're going to begin to the this morning's program. Good morning and welcome to the 25th annual City Manager or City of Lowell St. Patrick's Day Breakfast. To begin today's event, I'd like to ask that everyone please rise and stay standing. And I'd ask that the Lowell High School Honor Guard present the colors. And the Lowell High School Sound Impressions lead us in the national anthem.
Present. Pose.
And then if we could have the Boston Blackthorns, Jim O'Connor and John Leese, sing the Irish National Anthem. And now I would ask that Father Crayon lead us in prayer.
One of my sad duties as a priest is to attend funerals, and I would like to convey on behalf of all the residents of Lowell our deepest, sincerest sympathy to the people of Cambridge and Harvard for their loss last night. We're very sorry for your loss. Anyway, before we pray, on behalf of St. Patrick's Pastor Father Paul Ouellette, we give you dispensation to have your bacon today. It's Friday of Lent, and we're not allowed to eat bacon, but in honor of St. Patrick, I can't help the Jewish brothers and sisters, and I can't help the Muslims, but these Catholics, you can eat your bacon today, so please feel free. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we come together to honor St. Patrick, a man who spent 6 years as a slave in Ireland. Then he came back to free the Irish from selfishness and sin. A country that suffered the great hunger, and we're gathered here today to help those who suffer hunger in our own land. Give strength to your families and those people who eat this food, for your servants come today for strength to continue to fight, not only against hunger and for freedom, but also to practice their religion and freedom as the Irish were not allowed to do in their own country. Give us all these gifts, the gift of freedom and the ability to love, and we ask all this through Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Bon appetit.
Amen. Thank you for blessing Chris.
Thank you, Father. All right, we're going to start our program this morning. Now, the more lighthearted part of the program. Although I do have to say that I was looking forward to following Father Crayon. I figured that from there I'd have a little bit better luck with some laughs, but I didn't expect the Father to be the comedian of the group. So, thank you, Father. My name is Bernie Lynch, for those of you who don't know me. I'm the city manager of Lowell, at least as of this morning, and we'll see where it goes from there. I'm following in the tradition of city managers going back 25 years now in hosting this breakfast, and I'm pleased this morning that I have Senator Eileen Donahue co-hosting this with me. You know, the job of a co-host is or a host is not to be the wisest one at the table or the wittiest one at the table. In fact, it's my job to appear dull and boring, and so everyone up here will shine in comparison. So I promise you I will do my best. We do have a couple of rookies here with us today that you may have heard of. We have Senator Scott Brown. And we have Elizabeth Warren, also a candidate for the U.S. Senate. This is their first breakfast here in the city of Lowell, so go easy on them. I'm sure that they're a little nervous being out there in front of all of you. I do notice that we have a lot of media attention here today, and I do want to recognize the members of the media that have joined us. I assume they've come to hear Ms. Warren and Senator Brown, but perhaps they've also come to hear the rest of us up here and to see what happens in the city of Lowell. But the media attention is really something. I look out and I see Channel 7 is here. The WBZ Radio, I know, is here. We have some other more local media people here. We have Richard Howe in the Richard Howe blog. We have Jack Mitchell in Left in Lowell blog. We have Jerry Nutter, the famous Jerry Nutter, in the Jerry Nutter blog. I think we have our new online publication, Howl and Lowell. We have WCAP broadcasting this live, so this is going out beyond this room. We have LTC is here, broadcasting for us. We have the celebrities of City Life, George Anthus and John McDonough here. For those of you that aren't familiar with City Life, it's broadcast every morning from 6 to 8. I know you're all riveted to the TV sets at that hour. If you don't know it, it's sort of a combination of Wayne's World and Grumpy Old Men. And we also have the Lowell Housing Authority newsletter, the Lowell Sun. It's interesting, Richard Howe now has more writers than the Lowell Sun, so. And I do appreciate, I don't know if Gary Wallace is here, but I do appreciate everything he's doing for me in keeping me off the front page of the Sun. We just heard of the recent merger of Lowell General Hospital and Saints, and that follows in a tradition here in the city of Lowell. I remember going back into the 1970s when Lowell Tech and Lowell State merged together, and of course, we all remember when St. Joe's and St. John's hospitals merged together. Earlier this year, or late last year, I should say, there was a media merger that some people may have overlooked, the merger of Rodney Elliott's blog with the Lowell Sun. So, appreciate creating that powerhouse. I do want to thank the Chancellor for making this room available to us. The Chancellor could not be here. He's in Florida. I think he's down, last I heard he was down at Cape Canaveral looking to purchase the space program, looking to expand the horizons of UMass Lowell. I mean, why limit yourself to Lowell when you have the entire universe ahead of you? So, but thank you all for being here today. It is a great event that has a long history here now in the city of Lowell as an opportunity to come together and certainly honor the contributions of the Irish to the development of the city of Lowell, have a few laughs, and also support a good cause. And in the past, it's been various youth programs that we've supported through this breakfast, and this morning, all of the money raised by this event will go to the Merrimack Valley Food Bank, and I think we all know and appreciate the great work that they do. So you will hear from me again as the morning goes on a little bit, but at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Senator Eileen Donahue.
Good morning, everyone. Well, Bernie, first of all, I want to welcome everybody here. We're so happy you came out bright and early to celebrate this great day and to celebrate not only the Irish heritage, but also being American. So thank you so much for being here. Bernie, I saw you here bright and early, and when I got here this morning, I was surprised to learn, and I'm sorry to report, there's yet another federal investigation underway in Lowell. Apparently, the FBI, the Inspector General, I think the Attorney General, even the CIA now are checking into who installed the asbestos liners for the breakfast trays this morning. And most importantly, where did the asbestos come from? But don't worry, I know we'll hear more about it at the Lowell City Council meeting on Tuesday. And even though I don't think you have anything to do with the Indian Conference Center, it's going to be your fault. So let's get that out of the way. This morning we have so many wonderful honored guests here, and we're delighted to welcome them all here to the stage, and we'll be hearing from them. And it's great too that they are taking the time to stop by here to visit us in the greater Lowell community. The Lieutenant Governor couldn't be here this morning, but he actually was here earlier this morning at 5:30. And I know that because he left a note when he delivered my Herald to my front porch. Actually, the Lieutenant Governor is acting governor. Some of you may know Governor Deval Patrick is out of state because he's on vacation with his family. Let's just hope Tim's a better actor than a stunt car driver. Elizabeth Warren, welcome. Senator Brown, welcome so much here to Lowell. Senator Brown is here. Senator Kerry is not. And so, Senator, you only have to hold your own coat this morning. Actually, Senator, I understand if the election doesn't work out, Maine does need a 41st senator. Elizabeth is here. Elizabeth Warren, Professor Warren is how, Senator, we call her, or as Senator Brown calls her, Martha Coakley. Elizabeth, the senator wants you to know that professors are not people, so you are not entitled to the people's seat. One of the perks, in all honesty, one of the perks of elective office is getting up here and being able to make jokes, bad jokes, getting some people to laugh at our friends' expenses. But really, really and truly they should disclose this when we have to take out nomination papers. And Senator, I want to apologize. I think I made too many jokes this morning at your expense, so that means that I have to donate to a charity of your choice. You took the People's Pledge, and so here goes. Mitt Romney for president. That's the charity, right? And Elizabeth, we know that Elizabeth Warren grew up on the ragged edge of the middle class. I think she thinks that's going to impress us up here in Lowell. We call that living. Up next, it's my great pleasure to introduce our mayor, Patrick Murphy. Patrick is not only Lowell's newest but youngest mayor. He was first elected to the city council in the fall of 2009, and he's been working nonstop for the city ever since. Some of you may not know that as a young child, Patrick was keenly interested in economy and taxes, but nonetheless, he was an earnest young man, and he wanted to get $100, so he prayed so much for 2 weeks and nothing happened. So he decided to write God a letter, and he wrote a letter requesting $100. When the postal authorities got the letter addressed it to God, USA, they thought, we'll deliver this to the White House. So they delivered it to the White House, and President Obama was so impressed and so touched that a young man was looking for $100. He said to his secretary, send the boy a $5 bill. President Obama thought this would appear to be a lot of money to a young boy. Patrick got the letter from the White House. He was delighted to get the $5. He sat down and wrote a thank you note right away. And he said, Dear God, thank you very much for sending me the money. However, I noticed that for some reason you had to send it through Washington, D.C. And as usual, those sons of guns deducted $95. Without further ado, Mayor Murphy.
Thank you. Faltia Hawaja, August Benakti Nafalia Powder. Mr. Manager, Senator Donahue, Senator Brown, Congresswoman Tsongas, Ms. Warren, Representatives Golden, Murphy, and Nangle, members of the City Council and the School Committee, distinguished guests, respected members of the press, and the Lowell Sun. Welcome and happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. When I first joined the council in 2010, Manager Lynch asked if I was coming to the breakfast, and of course I said no. I mean, let's face it, there's been more recycled material over the last several years. It's almost as if solid waste coordinator Gunther Wellenstein had threatened you all with a headbutt. I'm just trying to help the delegation out, really. Set the expectations so exceedingly low that they might actually meet them this year. So naturally, I wasn't coming here unless I could speak, and I asked Bernie 2 years ago what I should do to get on the program. And he paused and grinned and said, become mayor. So this week, I found out how short my time allotment was for this morning, and I went back to ask Bernie, hey, Bernie, what can I do to get some more time on the program? He paused again, and he said, run for Senate. And Nikki Tsongas is over there thinking, I know why he shouldn't, But when Councilor Rodney Elliott, anxious, of course, to be mayor, heard of the dumb luck that first conversation with the manager had brought me, he went to Bernie himself, and he asked him the same question. Mr. Manager, I'm just asking a question. What can I do to get a speaking role at the breakfast? And Bernie paused a little longer this time, of course, and thought about it. And after a while, he said, well, why don't you run for Senate? But it is nice to have the actual Senate candidates here to meet the regular people like yourselves. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator Brown, for being here. It's always good to see the senator up here in Lowell with his clothes on. Likewise, I'm happy to see Ms. Warren made it here. Thank you for being here, all the way from Oklahoma, folks. She got out just in time. This really is going to be an exciting race, I think. I happened to be at a rally the other day for Senator Brown, who was giving a speech about something really important, I'm sure. And in the middle of the speech, he was interrupted by a heckler who kept on shouting out insults, all kinds of epithets. What a poser, a moron, a corporate sellout. And this abuse, it continued for some time until Senator Brown finally stopped his speech to address the heckler directly and ask what the problem was. And the heckler responded by shouting, "My grandfather was a Democrat, my father was a Democrat, and I'm a Democrat, and I'll be damned if I ever vote for the likes of you." And he repeated this a couple of times. So very cleverly, I thought, Scott Brown replied, "Well, suppose your grandfather were an ass. But suppose, too, that your father were an ass. What would that make you?" And without hesitation, he said, "A Republican." She's pretty quick on her feet, Ms. Warren. But both candidates have clearly been quick to claim a piece of the Kennedy legacy. Even Ted Kennedy faced accusations when he first ran in 1962, 50 years ago, against Attorney General McCormick, that he was using just his name to further his own career. And McCormick himself, from a political family, famously said that if his opponent's name were Edward Moore and not Edward Moore Kennedy, his candidacy would be a joke. Well, out in the audience, we have our very own city councilor, Edward Kennedy, who himself is thinking right now, thank God that hack McCormick didn't win. I have a second joke on that, but I think Kennedy will almost certainly object to us. Of course, the real joke in the room is how the coverage of this morning will be turned into a scandal in tomorrow's Sun. Was the band selection put out to bid? Why Boston Blackthorn and not Lowell? Were health inspections done for the kitchen? How much juice did the delegation really take? In fact, some observers say that the senatorial endorsement is already written. Not by the Sun, of course, but probably by the Herald or some reputable newspaper. But give the Sun a few days at least to lift some paragraphs, paraphrase a few others, butcher the syntax, and print it as their own. Don't get me wrong now. That's not coming from me. That's what some observers say. What I could say is far worse, but that's for another year. But anyway, I'm running out of time. I don't know what the rush is, but... I mean, really, have you seen the lineup after me? In fact, I'll give you a quick summary here so you can skip the bit entirely. Tom Tipper-Golden, he's going to get up and he's going to give a few knock-knock jokes, blame it on his kids. Kevin Murphy of Murphy's Law Offices, who can make any bad situation worse, will probably do so. And finally, Dave Nangle will no doubt complain about the communication between the city manager and himself. Play with his phone and ringtones, and never really realizing that Bernie just doesn't recognize the 603 number. So on that note, I think I'll sit down. But thank you very much. Dora Morgith, August Lang Gofoyle.
Thank you, Mayor Murphy, for saying all those things that I wish I would have said. And now the Boston Blackthorns to lead us in a sing-along.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling. I can't hear you. From land to land and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers are dying. It's you, must go and I must ride. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valleys hush and wait the snow. It's I'll be there, sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so.
Thank you very much. Next, we're going to hear from our United States Senator Scott Brown. And I do want to say, Senator Brown, thank you so much for coming up here. We greatly appreciate it. It's all in good fun, and we know that you have a great sense of humor. As we all know, Senator Brown was elected to the Senate in January of 2010 through a special election to fill the seat of the late Senator Kennedy. And since his special election, Senator Brown has jumped into national political scene and has made his voice heard on both sides of the aisle. So please join me in giving a warm Lowell welcome to Senator Brown.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's great to be here, obviously, up in Lowell again. See a lot of friends and colleagues, folks that I have a lot of respect for. And Mayor, it's good to meet you too. I really didn't think you were the mayor. I thought you were the greeter, actually, as we were coming in, but just goes to show you. And Father, thank you for that wonderful blessing. I actually picked Harvard over Vandy last night as a gesture to Professor Warren, and look what that got me. Now, they lost in the first round. But it is great to be here. I have a lot of respect for my former colleagues. Obviously, Tommy is here, and we have Dave, and it's good to see everybody here that I serve with. And Tommy has been a dear friend especially. And he has two girls, just like I do. And we were just talking. I said, Tommy, no matter what you do, when you get up to the stage and this podium, do not ever say that your daughters are available on national TV. It's a good lesson, trust me. Trust me, it's a good lesson. And when I see these guys, and I do see them regularly, Tommy especially calls me regularly. I know, the cat's out of the bag. He said, Scott, listen, I really want a picture of your Cosmo picture. I really want a copy of it. And he and Dave regularly fight about it. They both want a copy. So I actually have some good news. I have some good news for Tommy. I was asked to do another centerfold. And that's the good news. The bad news is it was for Mad Magazine. So I actually have my new centerfold for Tommy. Give that to the girls. It's good to be back here in Lowell. I've actually had the honor of doing a lot of the triathlons here and really enjoy the scenery and love swimming in the Merrimack River. You never know what's going to float by. It's a lot of fun. And throwing out the first pitch to the Lowell Spinners,
I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than taking batting practice and talking to the young people. They kind of look like you, Mayor. They're about your age. And there is nothing better than the pressure of getting on the mound and throwing out that first pitch and winding up with all your energy and strength and winging it down there right into the catcher's mitt, and you look up and it's a 45-mile-an-hour fastball. And what that tells me is I'm 20 miles slower than Tim Wakefield's knuckleball. And it's very, very humbling. But I wanted to come here, obviously, to see each and every one of you. I love having a sense of humor. I think I do. Remember, I am the guy that said his daughters were available on national TV. I thought it was funny. My daughters and wife did not. And when I was rushing here to get on the plane last night, I was in the middle of the plane, and I'm waiting for the door to close, trying to catch the last plane here, and I saw this lady. She burst through the door, this elderly woman. She burst through the door. She's got bags and things flying all over the place, and she clearly needed help, so I jumped up and I helped her put her bag up in the bin. And she looked right at me and says, "Aren't you that good-looking Republican from Massachusetts?" I said, "Well, it's nice to meet you." She says, "It's an honor to meet you too, Mr. Romney." You know, just goes to figure. Goes to figure. And I have been very, very, very focused on my job, and I'm pleased with the gains that Massachusetts has made in its educational system, especially here in UMass Lowell. They do a wonderful job. The Chancellor is doing a wonderful job. And it's my hope that the graduating class, as you know, has some of the sharpest minds in this country. And my hope is that the Boston Globe will actually hire some of them. So you think you guys are getting beat up pretty good. And I will be leaving early. I have a full day, and I'm going to be meeting a little later with all the Republicans from Lowell. And I'll be meeting him right out back there. And Professor Warren, it is good to see you. It is. I'm glad you were a little late. I'm glad you were able to get out of Cambridge and find your way up here. So even though you're a little late. But I want to just say, and all kidding aside, it's truly an honor to be back up here in Lowell. I won Lowell, and aside from my marriage of 25 years, and the birth of my kids, being your senator is the greatest honor I've ever had. And I'm looking forward to the laughs. This is a place where we can actually have some fun, and we actually try to come up here and actually be funny for once. So I want you to enjoy and have a safe, obviously, St. Patrick's Day weekend. And I look forward to the rest of the breakfast. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Brown. Next, we'll hear from Congresswoman Nikki Tsongas. You know, many years that we have had this breakfast, Congresswoman Tsongas has had to phone in from Washington, so we are delighted that she is here today. And let me just say, not only is this Nikki's hometown, but she has done an outstanding job in Congress, being the female voice, the first woman elected to Congress in over 25 years, has represented women's interests, particularly women in the military. And I want to ask all of you to give Nikki a warm welcome. Congresswoman Tsongas.
Thank you all. It's great to be here, great to be with you, and we know that we're having some good laughs and a great good nature, and as we send all this money off to the food bank, what a great thing we're doing for people in need. So good morning and happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you, and I'm so glad that I can actually, I think, be here in person. So St. Patrick's is a day when we can honor our glorious legacies and traditions. And to help me get ready for this morning, I was walking through downtown Lowell last night. The bars were all remarkably empty, probably because everyone was attending the first ever nighttime meeting of the License Commission. But eventually, I ended up at one of my favorite downtown businesses, the Old Court. But I wasn't the only elected official making the rounds. While I was at the court, a liberal, a conservative, and a moderate walked in. I said, "Great to see you, Governor Romney." Yep, The former governor was trying to recruit more of the common folks for his March Madness pool at $10,000 a square. It's great that Mitt comes to Lowell to rub shoulders with his people. Yes, people here can definitely relate to a multimillionaire former governor who's a son of a multimillionaire former governor running for president. Coming into the old court right on the former governor's heels was our current senator, Scott Brown. It was great to see him. But he asked me, he said, "Where's City Councilor Ed Kennedy? And where's former LRT head Bobby Kennedy?" Hoping to hitch his wagon to whatever Kennedys he could find. His opponent in the upcoming election and my friend Elizabeth Warren stopped by too. I think she's going to be a fantastic candidate and someday a model senator. But oh, wait, we have one of those already, here with us today. Or is that a senator model? In honor of this Irish holiday and with special federal legislation, I'm going to be starting a new tradition here today and granting temporary Irish status upon a member of our community who hails from a different background. Today, I'm pleased to give this honor, the first ever, to our resident Italian-American-born editor, Jim Campanini of the Lowell Sun. People have been telling me lately that Jim's been doing a lot of whining. I said, I wonder if that's true. But then I found out they were talking about his new blog he writes about wines. Can you imagine that? But Jim, I'm honored to bestow this special honor on you. One last thing you should know. The florist who sold it to me is a staunch Democrat. And apparently this clover plant, which I have over here, and in a minute I'd like you to come up and get, doesn't like direct sunlight because the florist told me to tell you, when I gave it to you, to put it where the sun doesn't shine. So here you go. Congratulations to our honorary Irishman. If you come up. And I have to say, coming in, Jim's promised to laugh at every vote, at every joke that I told. So I said I'm going to hold you to it. Little did he know. But in all seriousness, I'd like to extend a special Irish blessing for one of our favorite Irishmen, Tom McKay, who's on the mend and hopefully listening. Tom, get well soon. And I hope everyone has a great St. Patrick's Day. Thank you all.
Wow, I didn't know Bernie Lynch had a florist business. Next, we're very happy to have Elizabeth Warren here with us today. As we know, Elizabeth is a candidate for the United States Senate, but she also has been a professor at Harvard for close to 20 years. She had worked with President Obama, led the efforts to create the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and it is with great pleasure that we welcome Elizabeth here to the stage. Elizabeth Warren.
Thank you very much for inviting me today. This is the first time I've been invited to do anything like this. I'll learn. I just want to say what a pleasure it is to be here. I wanted to give you a quick recap. For those of you who haven't been following the Massachusetts Senate race, I thought I'd just give you the update. My name is Elizabeth Warren. I'm the daughter of a maintenance man who became a professor and fought against big Wall Street banks. Now, if that doesn't ring a bell, you might remember me as the elitist professor from Hollywood who's running against Scott Brown. You know, now that you're up to speed, I should say I'm really impressed to be here. There are so many important elected officials in the room, and the mayor. But I did notice, I'm working on it. But I did notice that Governor Patrick is not here. I understand that he's in Iowa visiting all 99 counties. I'm working on that. Actually, that's not true. That was a joke someone else gave me. And that's why you didn't laugh. In fact, he's in Rick Santorum's favorite place today, the Virgin Islands. So, I'm a newcomer to politics, but I'm trying to learn. And so far, I just want to share with you what I've picked up. The first is I have learned, do not read bloggers' comments. You know, I have one. One described me as a typical Harvard egghead, off to a strong start, but who will fall apart under pressure. Now, I read that and I was furious until I realized they were blogging about Jeremy Lin. I learned already that when you visit the State House and say that you're hoping to serve a 6-year term, someone thinks you cut a really great deal with the district attorney. And another thing I learned, one pickup good, 2 Cadillacs bad. You know, it takes a while on these. You know, speaking of cars, I'm actually trying to figure out which is faster. Tim Murray driving a Crown Victoria or Scott Brown running away from the Republican Party. It's close. It's close. You know, things have gotten so bad that Donald Trump is asking to see Scott's long-form party registration. I also have learned that when your opponent repeatedly refers to you as professor, he doesn't mean it in a nice way. So it's an honor to run for this Senate and good to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In no particular order, I do want to recognize some of the elected officials in the audience. First, let me recognize my good colleague from the State Senate, Senator Barry Feingold. Also here from the Lowell School Committee, Robert Gignac. From the Lowell School Committee, Dave Conway. Also here, former mayor, current city councilor, Bill Martin. From the Lowell School Committee, Jim Leary. Here this morning, Karen Frederick from the Executive Director of CTI. Beverly Woods from the Northern Middlesex Council of Governments. Former Lowell City Councilor George Ramirez. Sam Poulton of the Neshoba Technical High School Committee. Ed Cameron, Newburyport City Councilor. Steve O'Neill from the Greater Lowell Technical High School. And we have more, and we'll be announcing more throughout the morning. It is now my pleasure to introduce a special treat this morning, the Celtic Company Dancers. I'm excited to introduce them. They are the Celtic Company Dancers of Dance New England School of Dance. Both the junior and senior Celtic companies will be performing the Irish step dance for us, so please, let's give them a warm welcome.
Thank you to the Celtic Company Dancers. That was their St. Patrick's Day set. You could probably tell we brought some real dancers in here this year instead of just us dancing around up here. So, I'd like to recognize a few more of our elected and appointed officials that are here. We have from the... Oh, I'm sorry. We have some more dancers. This is the soft shoe reel. Thank you. The junior dancers. Thank you very much. Sorry to step on your lines. It gives you some sense of my dancing. I step on people's feet all the time. So thank you once again for the Celtic Company dancers. And the director, Christine Morrison. Thank you, Christine, for coming here today. All right. Now back to the other elected officials that are here today. We have City Councilor Joseph Mendonca. City Councilor Kevin Broderick. Everyone's favorite former mayor, current City Councilor Rita Mercier. I don't see Rita. She's very shy. So there you are. First-term Councilor Vesna Noon. We also have, also from the school committee, Jim Leary. You already get called? Yeah, you've got enough attention. We have Superintendent Gene Franco. School committee, Kim Scott. We'll look around and see who else we see. We'll get back to that in a minute. Oh, City Councilor Marty Laurie. Is Rodney here? And City Councilor Ed Kennedy. And in the back, City Councilor Rodney Elliott. Thank you, Rodney. And now it gives me great pleasure in introducing our Middlesex County Sheriff, Peter Koutoujian. Doesn't sound Irish, but Peter was with us last year. He did an outstanding job, so we brought him back. He's been a constant presence here in the city of Lowell and a real partner to us. Mr. Sheriff. Mr. Manager, thank you.
It's funny, it's a lot easier to put your notes out here with all the microphones from the news stations. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful. They all left, yes. I noticed that, Scott. Thus the joke. But at least they laugh when you help me, so thank you very much. Elizabeth, please. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be here in Lowell. I just want to say that on the way, it was interesting. When I came here, I arrived a little early, and on the way in, I bumped into Jim Campanini in the lobby. And he just popped his head right up there very interestedly. And he looked a little anxious, and I inquired as to what was concerning him. Why was he anxious? Why did he look uncomfortable? And he explained that as an Italian-American, he was a little uncomfortable this morning, and he asked if it was okay to pretend to be Irish on St. Patrick's Day. And I said, sure. I mean, you pretend you're good on Christmas, don't you? Mr. Manager said something about ink by the barrel. I don't know what that means. I did not say you pretend to be a good nose paper, Jim, because I believe the Lowell Sun is a great publication up here. But I'm in for a penny, so I'll go in for a pound. Everyone at the Lowell Sun, I love them. I even heard that Chris Scott found a 4-leaf clover the other day, which can only mean one thing. This intrepid investigator has far too much time on his hands. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Peter Koutoujian. The manager had mentioned it's a very strong Armenian name. What you might not know that my mother is Irish, and we still have people back there. This is true. We come from the O'Connors of Clonakilty in County Cork, and we come from the Casserleys, which name was changed to Cassidy, from Athenry in County Galway. I have been an Irish step dancer when I was younger. I studied at the University of College Dublin. But what did this mean growing up? It meant that for my mom, in March, the easiest way to get candy from my mother was to introduce myself around as Peter Cassidy Koutoujian. Now, as I've gotten older, I've realized that changing my name like that for candy was juvenile and, quite honestly, a little inappropriate. Now, as an adult and as an elected official, I use the name Peter Cassidy Koutoujian for much more mature and important reasons, votes and fundraising. Barry and Charlie, these gentlemen will certainly attest to that. One of my favorite supporters from Lowell is Mrs. Murphy from over in Air City. I saw her on the way here when I stopped by the Owl Diner for a cup of coffee. And as usual, she spoke so lovingly, so tenderly about her son Patrick. She told me with great elation that he had not looked at a woman or even had a drink for over 3 years. I told her that was amazing and that she must be so proud of his self-discipline. She said that she was, and she plans to throw him a big party when he gets paroled next month from my institution. Now, Pat Murphy is a bit of a legend in the sheriff's office. He first came to join us after getting stopped for an operating under the influence charge of alcohol. The most interesting part of the story is how he ended up so intoxicated in the first place. Apparently, he was playing a drinking game where he drank a shot of Jameson's for every retraction published in the Lowell Sun. Looking back, he indicated that he was quite thankful he didn't die of alcohol poisoning. All right, so Pat is a... I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the sun now.
Take my advice. It's not worth it.
Pat is a nice guy, though, and as strange as it sounds, the staff at both the jail and the House of Corrections likes having him around, even if heavily intoxicated. After this arrest, he was being required to give his initial physical examination. One of our infirmary's doctors said to him, "I'm very sorry, but I can't properly conduct this examination due to the effects of the alcohol." "Don't worry about it, doctor," Pat said. "They'll bring me back when you're sober." But this wasn't Pat's first brush with the law, mind you. Not only did he get caught, but he ended up in front of the same judge as he did in his last offense. Recognizing him, the judge yelled at him from the bench, "I thought I told you I never wanted to see you here again." "Your Honor," Pat said, "that's what I tried to tell the police, but they wouldn't listen to me." Now, Pat's dad, Old Man Murphy, lives down in Air City still, and when he heard Pat was back behind bars, he was quite nervous. You see, Pat was the only one who could help him dig up his garden each spring. Mr. Murphy wrote in a letter that he sent to Pat and received this reply, "Don't dig up that garden. That's where I buried the guns." What Old Man Murphy forgot was that we, being a very strong institution, check all the mail going in and out of our institution. And at 4 a.m. the next morning, a dozen of Lowell's finest showed up and dug up the entire garden, but didn't find a single gun. Confused, Old Man Murphy wrote to Pat to tell him what had happened and asked him what to do next. Pat's replied, "Dad, now go ahead and plant your garden." Thank you for that one applause line there. Because I'm getting off right now, and in closing I want to say this. I love this job, and I was appointed 1 year ago, and I remember coming to you just 1 year ago, and it was a great morning. I love this job. But one thing that I think people don't understand about this job is the work of the corrections officers in our institutions, or institutions anywhere. And so what I'd like to tell you just briefly about is the work that they do. Corrections officers are inside these walls with our inmates 24/7, 365 days a year. When those Klieg lights shut off inside that courtroom and you see that perpetrator, that notorious criminal being led down into the lockup downstairs in that courtroom, and those lights shut off, you never think about that criminal again. And yet who watches him for the next months or years? It's the men and women of the Middlesex Sheriff's Office, other sheriff's offices, and the Department of Corrections. They suffer greatly for this role. It is a very difficult job. They have greater health issues and emotional issues, and sometimes it affects their families. And I ask you, as you know, to go and say thank you to your local police or your local fire, to say thank you for the job that they do, very appropriately so. If you know a CO, if you know a corrections officer, just take a moment to say thank you to them too. Because no one understands the job that they do, no one understands the nobility of the work that they do, no one understands how much they protect us with their public safety. And in closing, I'd like to leave you with an old Irish saying that exemplifies the brave men and women of the MSO, Middlesex Sheriff's Office, and the dedication they show each day in the difficult work that they do. It is easy to be pleasant when life flows by like a song, but the worthwhile man is the one who will smile when everything goes dead wrong. For the test of the heart is trouble, and it always comes with years, and the smile that is worth the praises of earth is the smile that shines through the tears. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Lowell.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. Just a few more people I want to name off here that are here. Former Mayor Jim Milanazzo. Former Lowell Mayor, former City Manager, former Athletic Director of Lowell High School, current aide to Representative Tsongas, former City Councilor Brian Martin. Brian has done everything. Representative Charles Murphy of Burlington is here. Strangely, Sam Polton has signed every one of these sheets. Sam, we're only going to call you once, though. Mary Jo Santoro of the Greater Lowell Technical High School. We also had Fred Bahu and Eric Eacher of the Greater Lowell Technical High School. George O'Hare of the Greater Lowell Technical High School. Former City Councilor Curtis LeMay. Jim Scanlon, Executive Director of the Lowell Regional Transit Authority. Richard Howe, Register of Deeds. Jody Ross, Town Manager of the Town of Westford. Sitting with Bud Stupczynski, the Town Manager of the Town of Andover. We also have Tim Goddard, the Town Administrator of Carlisle here. Pat Wojcik, Selectman in Chelmsford. All right. We'll come back to this again in a minute. Another sing-along by the Blackthorns.
All right, we're going to teach you something really quick here. When we say no, nay, never, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes like this. It's no, nay, never. Okay, you got it. No, nay, never, no more. Will I play the wild rover? No, never, no more. It goes a little bit like this every single time. I've been a wild rover, boys, many easy years, and I spent all my money on whiskey and beer. Now I'm returning with the golden great star, and I never will play the wild rover. Here you go now. And it's no, nay, never. Everybody! No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. I went down to a ale house that I used to frequent, and I told the landlady all the money was spent. I asked her for credit, she answers me nay. Such a custom as yours I could get any day, and it's no, nay, everybody. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. Well, then out of the pocket I took some pride, and the landlady's eyes took away with delight. She says they've got whiskey, boys, the wine's of the best, and the words that I said, sure they were only jest, and it's no, they all were the best. Oh, they never no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more. You know the scary thing about this song? When I watch this Irish crowd clap at time, the Brit Santorum gets elected. The rhythm is all we're going to have. I'll go back to me parents and confess what I've done. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to leave out that weekend with Kim Kardashian entirely. Don't you think that'll be wise? You're with me just now. And if they accept me as the plains before, then I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more.
Thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to introduce a very, very dear and close friend of mine. And it's like we practiced that. Now, Tommy Golden is just a great guy. I told this story a couple years ago, and I just have to tell it again because he's such a cute guy. I went up to the State House to see him about it was actually the budget season last year, right around this time, and he was releasing some tension in the office there by working on a jigsaw puzzle, and I thought, well, that's great. It's a great way for him to kill some time while he's up there in Beacon Hill and cut through the tension a little bit. And I came back about 6 months later, last fall, to talk to him about a couple of things, thank him for all the things he's doing for the city of Lowell. And there he was working on the jigsaw puzzle again. And I noticed, it was the same jigsaw puzzle. I said, gee, it doesn't look that complicated, Tom. I think after you did it once, you wouldn't need to do it again. And he said, well, it's the same one. I'm still working on it. I said, really? He said, yeah, it says 3 to 5 years. All right, Tommy, I got word from the chancellor that the audio-video system is not working, so Tommy Golden.
Good morning. All right, now, did anyone pull a muscle watching these girls dance? Did they do a great job or what? Now, big shout-out to Tommy McKay. He's a good friend of ours. We wish he was here. And if he's smart, he's not listening this morning. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully everybody knows this little flavor that we have going on here. It's going to be a little bit about local politics and my good friend, the mayor. So, welcome everyone to the annual St. Patrick's Day breakfast. I've tried jokes. I've tried poems. I've tried stories. I've tried ditties. You guys just won't laugh. So today, I have something new. As some of you may know, I'm the chairman of the Convention and Visitors Bureau here in the Merrimack Valley, right? Merrimack Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau. Deb Belanger's out there doing a great job for us. We've had great success in trying to help Massachusetts become Hollywood East. Great success with the fighter, Mickey Ward, huh? Put your hands together for Mickey Ward, putting us right back on the map here. The Invention of Lying, the Four Brothers, commercials, everything's happening. So today, what we're going to try to do, try to make it a little bit fun for some of my friends up here. Don't blame me if these movies are no good later on. It's the actors. So I'm going to let you in, though, in a little secret about what's happening. Hollywood is here. So anybody that has their SAG card, anybody that has an 8x10 glossy, get ready. Now, the first one, before we get to the blockbusters, these are not going to be on the screen. The first one, it's going to be a remake of The King and I. As everyone knows, this movie is about a love-hate relationship that boils down to one thing: control. Now it's going to be remade right here in the city of Lowell. The new title is going to be The King and the Commission. That's right, the Lowell Liquor Commission. And they've suggested that the lead actor be none other than the King of Lowell himself, Bernie Lynch. It's a gift. It's a gift that I would like the manager to agree to put on, because it came from the Liquor Commission. Because they were said, why not? He thinks he's king anyways. Could you open that up and see what you think? King Bernie, right here, ladies and gentlemen, the King of Lowell. Is that too small for the ego? I mean the head? Is it too... All right, the second one before we get to the coming attractions. Gone with the Wind, which opened in April of 1861. And the palatial southern estates of the Tara. And it boils down to a story about a spoiled southern girl, Scarlett O'Hara, and a roguish Rhett Butler, played by the handsome Clark Gable, the black sheep of a wealthy Charlestown family. The movie, famous action continues with the burning of Atlanta through the now classic closing line. Well, folks, once again, it may be right here in the city of Lowell. But after 150 years, the movie is set to change, with none other than Bernie Lynch starring as the spoiled Scarlett O'Hara. While my good friend Rodney Elliott starring as Clark Gable. Mr. Manager, he's going to ask all the questions he wants because, frankly, he doesn't give a damn. Now, of course, if that doesn't work out for Counselor Elliott, there's always the remake of any Rodney Dangerfield movie. He gets no respect anyways. Rodney, you still here? I hope not. You're not listening to this, Rodney, eh? Ladies and gentlemen, now, this is what you've all been waiting for. The coming attractions. Lowell's big screen. Watch for breaking news in the Lowell Sun, arts and entertainment section. The Lowell Sun, the greatest newspaper that we all know about. The Lowell Sun, the greatest newspaper. I'm going to keep saying it till you clap. The Lowell Sun, the greatest newspaper in the area. Ladies and gentlemen, the movie, right here, going to be remade. Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner did a great job with this movie. It's about hope, it's about inspiration, and of course, dreams. The remake of this movie is going to be retitled, The University of Dreams. Formerly known as University of Massachusetts at Lowell, it's now known as UMM, the University of Martyville. They're going to keep the same slogan, build it and they will come. Marty Meehan, doing a hell of a job. The next piece. This is the famous duo of Felix Unger, which was played by Tony Randall, and Oscar Madison, Jack Klugman. It was a favorite comedy for all. Who remembers The Odd Couple? Everyone remember The Odd Couple? Now, I'm not going to tell you who's who, but I will say this. There's somebody on the left, somebody on the right. And unfortunately, the Massachusetts voters are going to be stuck in the middle. We have Elizabeth Warren and Scott Brown. Massachusetts Odd Couple. Yet, once again, there's another movie going to be filmed right here in the city of Lowell. It's a remake of The Incredible Hulk. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, The Incredible Hulk, originally played by Lou Ferrigno. The man that put in for this, he's been talking about green jobs before anyone even knew what green jobs was. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. He's mean, he's green, and he knows Rule 17 of the City Council, none other than our Mayor, Patrick Murphy. I hope we met your expectations so far, Mr. Mayor. It's like a leprechaun on steroids here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I only have a couple more, so I'm not going to make fun of every... You weren't here last year or the year before. This is actually getting applause. Ladies and gentlemen, Austin Powers, the international man of mystery. Everybody know who it is? Austin Powers, right? Great success at the box office. It's a movie about a spy who works for the good of mankind while fighting his arch nemesis, who is the epitome of evil. It's going to be important to remember this. The epitome of evil. Everybody? Gotcha. Although many people have tried casting for Austin Powers, the man of mystery, the person who's going to get this role is none other than Paul Georges from the Lowell Teachers Association. Hold on, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Austin Powers, Paul Georges, the international man of mystery. Paul, or should I say, the new international man of mystery, is a swinging 60s leftover. He'll fight the new Dr. Evil and the new Mini-Me. And this is going to be played by none other than our city manager and Tom Moses. The real Dr. Evil, he's in the house. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end. For most of you, you're very happy because I didn't pick on you because I didn't have time. I was told, Tommy, you get 4 minutes, you get 3 minutes, you get 2 minutes, you get 5 minutes, you get 4 minutes. I'm like, make up your mind, Mr. Manager. Which one is it? Ladies and gentlemen, this one, it's a timeless classic that is loved by all. Who can forget the great Wizard of Oz, the Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow, and especially the lovely Dorothy, and even Toto too. Once again, it's unbelievable how the Convention and Visitors Bureau has pulled off this remake that's going to take place right here in the city of Lowell. The land of Lowell transforming the yellow brick road to the cobblestones of Lowell. Can you imagine Eileen Donahue as Dorothy, skipping down the cobblestone streets of Lowell with her friends, the courageous lion Dave Nangle, the loving Tin Man Kevin Murphy, and of course me as a scarecrow still searching for a brain? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have to bring these back, but I want you all to help me out. There's no place like Lowell. There's no place like Lowell. There's no place like Lowell. Alive, unique, and inspiring. Ladies and gentlemen, and as the Irish say, may the road rise to meet you, or as Lieutenant Governor Murray says, may I rise early to meet the road. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
By George, I think you've got it.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Tommy Golden. And now it's one of my other close friends, equally close, Representative Kevin Murphy. Kevin is pretty technologically advanced, and I saw him the other day up at the State House as well, at his desk, poring over what I thought to be the budget. He had his iPad out, and he was just staring down at it. I actually have it right here. Staring down and looking at it, and I figured, well, he must be going over the budget. He must be reading some legislation. He just kept on staring and staring and staring. Boy, he's really spending a lot of time on this. I'm glad he's taking it so seriously, only to learn and discover that it's a mirror, so he can look at himself. Representative Kevin Murphy.
You know, I always wanted more FaceTime at the city council meeting. Geez, Tommy, that was terrific. High tech, better than your knock-knock jokes, huh? Boy, speaking of that, Mayor Murphy, boys, were you ready for that assault? We went easy on him. We didn't prepare for that, did we? But, oh, wait a second, this is your first term, right? So you'll be back here next year, huh? I'd wear a helmet if I were you. And Peter Koutoujian, oh, thank you very much for coming this year. Actually, Peter and I sat next to each other in the house for 15 years, and he was actually funny this morning. You know, normally at this time I'd lampoon our host, or this year our hosts. But this year I'm going to do something different. Although, you know, boys, it could be fun this year. You know, we could talk about Bernie actually wanting us to believe he knows what goes on in downtown Lowell on the weekends. Or how about Eileen's cutting-edge Rex Trailer, the official cowboy legislation? Can you believe she got a front-page story on that? But no, fortunately for them, myself, my wife, and my son traveled to Ireland last summer. It truly was one of the most 10 memorable days of my life. From Dublin to Doolin, from Kilmainham Jail to the Michael Collins Centre, Ireland's history, spirituality, and sheer beauty cannot be described, only experienced. And I must admit, my most memorable experiences are the evenings when we retired to the pubs in the particular town we were visiting. The collegiality, camaraderie, and sense of community in these pubs could never be duplicated elsewhere, nor could the Smittix drafts. On our first night in Ireland, we visited Temple Bar in Centre City, Dublin. I noticed an Irishman, an Englishman, and a Scotsman at the bar. Each orders a pint of Guinness. Just as the bartender hands them over, 3 flies buzz down and land, 1, 2, 3, in each of the pints. The Englishman looks disgusted, pushes his pint away, and demands another. The Scotsman picks out the fly, shrugs, and takes a long swallow. The Irishman reaches into the glass, grabs the fly between his fingers, and shakes him as hard as he can, shouting out, "Spit it out, you bloody thing! Spit it out!" My favorite pub was McGann's in Doolin. Never before in my life had I seen a bartender work so hard, pouring drinks, taking food orders, and actually delivering the food to your table. Two Doolin locals, Tom and Dave, they had been drinking buddies and friends for years. After having a few drinks, Tom said to Dave, "We've been friends for years and years, and if I should die before you, would you do me a favor? Get the best bottle of Irish whiskey you can find and pour it over my grave." Dave replied, "I would be glad to do that for you, my old friend, but would you mind if I passed it through my bladder first?" Too often the celebration of St. Patrick's Day focuses on Irish drinking and tomfoolery. That is unfortunate because the Irish have been incredible contributors to education, the arts, and humanities, not only in Ireland, but here in the United States. And that is why today, I, like so many of you, proudly proclaim, I am an Irishman. Thank you very much, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you.
A few more people I'd like to recognize. Dr. Joseph Downs, the Chief Deputy Commissioner of the State Athletic Commission. Back here. Jackie Doherty, former school committee person. Chief Financial Officer Tom Moses. Mini-me. Assistant City Manager Henry Marchand. Everyone's favorite guy, Fred Simon. I'd also like to recognize the mayor's mother and father who are here, Daniel and Joan Murphy. And special recognition to Greg Page of the U.S. Army, just back from his tour in Afghanistan. Greg Page. Greg, thank you for your service. Now, I'm going to call up the guy who has the cell phones. I have my cell phone today, Dave. You can't. I know I have that, and I have my notebook here, so you don't have that. So I don't know what you're going to use for your comedy routine today. I can hardly wait. David Nangle.
Ooh. Tommy, you owe me $5 for that hug. You know, Mr. Manager, you've been naming everybody here today, elected officials past and present. I think you left out one. Former city manager Bernie Lynch, right here, ladies and gentlemen. Mine too. Seriously, folks, but it's great to be here this morning. We have Liz Warren, a candidate for United States Senate. Thank you for coming, Liz. And I have to tell you, 13 years ago I was sworn in with this gentleman over to my right, United States Senator Scott Brown. And I have to say that, Scott, thank you. Who's John Kerry? Does he know where Lowell is? I don't know. Maybe he can follow you up here, Scott, next time, Senator, I should say. Actually, folks, I didn't know what I was going to do here today. And, oh, by the way, before I forget, a great haul and everything else, but I know it definitely wasn't Lindsay's food because I see a lot of full plates on the table. Where's the Chancellor? Is he here? Oh, that's right. Anyways, Speaking of attorneys, my good friend Kevin Murphy, and I think of Kevin a lot when he talks about going into court every day and so on and so forth. Is Senator Pangiatakis here this morning? Pangy's not here. Good. So I can tell this one about him. This is true. When Pangy first became an attorney about 27 years ago, he was down on Palmer Street. He had opened up his office. He wasn't too busy, obviously, so one day he was sitting at his desk doing nothing. And all of a sudden, his secretary came running in and said, "Steve, Mr. Jones is here to see you." Pangy got all excited and said, "Oh, boy, bring him right in." And as Mr. Jones was walking up the hall, Pangy thought quick. He grabbed the phone and he yelled into the phone, "I'm telling you right now, it's $50,000, nothing less, and don't call me back till you get an agreement. You hear me?" And with that, he slammed down the phone. The gentleman walked in. He said, "What can I do for you, Mr. Jones?" And he said, "I'm here from the telephone company. I'm here to hook up your phone." While we're on the attorneys, one day the gate between heaven and hell had broken down. So St. Peter went down, called out for the devil to get out here, and he said, "Satan, it's your turn to fix the gate this time." And the devil said, "I'm sorry, but my men are way too busy to worry about fixing a mere gate." St. Peter says, "Well then, I'll have to sue you for breaking our agreement." The devil responded, "Oh yeah? Where are you going to get an attorney?" Sorry. My good dear friend right here, my pal, the manager, recently was upset. If you can believe this, the Lowell Sun actually wrote a bad story about Bernie. That never happens. So one day he was so incensed and he was furious. He drove up Dutton Street, wheeled into the Textile Museum and stormed in and said, "Where's Campy?" They said he's in the editorial office. And he stormed in. He said, "Campy, you know that story, that editorial you wrote yesterday?" He said, "You know it was all lies, and I'm sick and tired of this." Campy sat back in the chair with his glass of wine and said, looked at him very calmly, and he said, "Relax, Bernie. What on God's green earth would you do if we told the truth about you?" We're doing. And then I see my good dear friend Freddie Simon out here in the crowd. There's Freddie over here. And Freddie is a good man doing a lot of good things in the city, but there's something you don't know about Freddie. He likes to go around with some younger woman and on his arm and so forth. So recently he was at the doctor's. He went for a physical. And a few days later, the doctor saw Freddie walking down Merrimack Street with a gorgeous young woman on his arm. A couple of days later, the doctor spoke to Freddie and said, "You're really doing great, aren't you, Fred?" Freddie replied, "Oh, I'm just doing what you told me to do, Doc. Get a hot mama and be cheerful." The doctor looked at him and said, "Fred, I didn't say that to you. I said you've got a hot murmur. Be careful." Liz, it's nice to meet you. Can I have a cell phone I can borrow for a second? Oh, you dropped it. You don't mind, do you? I would never normally do that. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you and asking for your cell phone. Tommy Golden might ask for your phone number, but I would ask for that. Oh, you have a couple of messages. Would you mind, or do you have a password? Can I have? Let's just see what she has. Oh, boy, hold on. John, can you just turn that... where's John Smith? Is he here? I'm sorry, we're getting there. Okay. Hold on, can we, where's that volume? John, is he out here? He told me he would turn that up out here. Oh, that's what it is. I'm sorry, Liz, your phone isn't working too good. Let's try this again. No, it's not working, John. I just can't get this. Oh, boy, I'm in big trouble. What am I going to do now here?
Put it on speaker.
Another Mighty Me and special microphone. Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Nick,
Huh?
put it on speaker.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, all right, I'm sorry. Thank you, Senator. I knew I learned something from you when I sat next to you in the chamber.
Hi, Mom. It's me. I know you're going to see Scott on the campaign trail over the next few days. I was really hoping that you could get me that Cosmo spread autographed. Love ya.
Your daughter, okay, we'll try that. Let's see if there's another one on here.
Hey, Lizzie, Tim Murray calling again. Phone records indicate this is my 84th call into you. You've not called me back yet. I really want to help out in your campaign. If you need political advice or a driver, I'm available. Please call me.
Senator, I had your phone over here. Is that all right? Senator, I just jumped right into yours. Let's see.
Senator, this is Greg Casey calling from the Secret Service. On our advance visit to Lowell yesterday, there was some confusion. Your office thought you were going to the North Common Village. Obviously, you have since found out that you are going to the UMass and Conference Center for the breakfast. You will not need your asbestos mask.
Oh, what does that mean? Oh, you might have one more on here, Senator. Let's see.
Senator, this is Greg Casey.
Oh, gee, no, I didn't. Let's see. I'm not good with this electronic equipment.
Hi, Senator. It's Tim Murray calling. I really want to help out in your campaign. If you need political advice or a driver, I'm available. Call me. Oh, shoot. You can't call me. The governor took my cell phone away.
Oh, all right. And somehow I think, Bernie, you might have one on
Hi,
here, too.
Tim. It's Tim Murray calling. I really want to help out in your campaign.
We're almost done. Okay. Bernie, I think this is for you.
Hi, Bernie. It's Tim Murray. I wanted you to confirm that you still wanted me to offer Rodney a position with the state-owned asbestos removal company. Boy, you should be able to get a 10-year contract with Rodney gone. By the way, I'm driving around the Andover Street. It's about 3:30 a.m., and I'm surveying the possible damage caused by this unseasonably warm weather. I've not heard from you in a while. My phone doesn't ring like it used to. Also, I was wondering why I never got an invite to that Lowell St. Patrick's Day Festival. I would hate to crash it. Oh, and by the way, call me in my office if I'll have that minutes to my phone.
Anyways, folks, that didn't come through there. But, Bernie, I did notice that Tim Murray is not here today. Are we safe walking outside here? He's not going to be driving down Warren Street, is he? Anyways, that's it, folks. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all, and I have to wish a happy special St. Patrick's Day to Bill and Betty Nangle. Thank you all very much.
Great job, Representative Nangle. And let's hear it for everybody who gave their all this morning. Now, not to disappoint, as is our tradition, we have a professional comedian that's different than a manager. Professional comedian here, Artie Gennaro. Give a warm welcome to Artie.
How are you? Hi, how are you? Good, okay. This is wonderful to watch all these politicians try jokes, you know. I'm going to try to be a politician right now instead of being a comedian. I'm just, my wife actually sent us, she wants to know how you're going to vote on the domestic abuse bill. Your co-sponsor, that's good, because if I don't get a good answer from you, she's going to beat me up again. I come from Revere, Massachusetts, Revere, Mass. It's a little different, the structure here, I think. It has a manager, and we wouldn't know who to grease, really. There'll be a lot of confusion, a lot of envelopes with names on them, all the U.S. reps and everything. So yeah, I come from Revere, but I moved to Billerica, which is like Revere, but got a prison. It's just... Matter of fact, most of the kids I went to high school with are in the prison, so it's sort of like North Revere. I'm actually a pharmacist during the daytime. That's what I actually do during the day. Every once in a while, I get to become my best customer, and I just, hey, you know. No, I do. I don't take much. I take one thing for my memory, ginkgo biloba. You know, you're supposed to have a good memory in the pharmacy. I really am a pharmacist, and you got to have a good memory. You got to be right like all the time. That's a lot of pressure. It's like, You're like a 98 in college in pharmacology. Number one in the class. Now I killed 2 people on Saturday. I work at a supermarket pharmacy now, Super Stop and Shop. It's very super. Yeah. It's a little different, though, because they want me to combine everything in the store. You know, I'm just part of a whole. So I have to say things like, make sure you take this Lipitor every night at 8 o'clock with the Doritos that are on sale. Because I forget how people believe everything I say, which is very dangerous. I never know, lady, and then they ask you the dumbest questions. The hardest part of my job is keep a straight face while they're asking something stupid. And you have to pretend that it's not an idiotic question. A lady the other day, she goes to me, I have this ointment. It says to apply locally to affected area. I said, well, what's the problem? She goes, well, we just moved to New Hampshire. Another woman came in, she goes, I have these suppositories. It says to insert one rectally every 12 hours. I said, what's the problem? Well, the same one? Because if you leave the aluminum on, you know, it lasts for weeks. I float around. I go from store to store at Stop and Shop. I was in wonderful Bedford yesterday. Lowell doesn't have a Stop and Shop. You know better because this is, Demoulas's territory. I was in Revere, back in Revere. I was down there in South Revere, by the beach, and it's where I grew up. And originally it was all, Italians and Jewish people and stuff. And now that boat moved out, and another boat moved in. And you know how that works at neighborhoods. And so now it's pretty much like Lowell in Southeast Asia is what I'm trying to say. So there's a lot of communication problem talking to the customers, and so there's a lot of charades going on between me, who doesn't understand what he's saying, and him that doesn't understand what I'm saying. So there's a lot of yes, smiling and yesing, and that's all we got. A guy came into the pharmacy, had an empty a pill bottle, and I thought, okay, just great, a refill. And then I look and I said, oh boy, it was just filled a week ago, and it was a 90-day supply, and so it's too soon, Fong Foon, and it was his name, and so I kept saying, he's just smiling. I said, no, it's not. Yes, it's no. I said, it won't go through your insurance, Mr. Foon. It's too soon. And I just kept telling him it's too soon. And he's like, yes, too soon. He repeated, and then he left. And I said, oh, good. He left. Now I don't have to deal with him anymore. But he comes back like an hour later. Well, the woman looks just like him. And, well, I'm thinking, oh, good. He brought his identical twin sister in to translate. And no such luck. So now I'm trying to explain to her. I said, look, your friend Fong Foon is too soon. It won't go through the insurance. It's too soon for the insurance. And she's like, yes, yes. I said, don't start that yes stuff again, because I got nowhere with him with that. So now, after a little while of all this, it's way too soon, lady, she takes her insurance card out of her pocket, and her name, of course, on it is Too Soon. Now, what are the odds that, I was, the guy probably thought I was saying to him, look, go get your friend Too Soon. She'll explain everything. She comes in, she thinks I'm flirting with her or something. I have no idea, because I just keep saying her name over and over again. You're too soon. So I was in a hole, so I just said, well, here's a bunch of pills. Get the heck out of here. You're not supposed to throw your drugs away anymore. You can't flush them down the toilet like you used to be able to, because the EPA says it gets it to the groundwater and squirrels get high or something, right? So people have been coming into the pharmacy with Ziploc bags filled with pharmaceutical wonders. So after we sift through whatever we want, ooh, a keeper. No, we just take it to the special room we have out back and flush it down the toilet. Nobody told us what to do with these things. I think years from now, too, they're just going to identify us from all the drugs that we consumed. Like 10,000 years from now, archaeologists will dig up, Lawrence, and and they'll say, well, evidently the Macedonians must have lived here. Well, there's the Prozacites, the Zoloftians, the Vicodinians. You know who you are. There's the Viagrians. Look, Johnson, I think this species had an extra bone. I don't know where that came from. Sorry, one Viagra joke. So anyway, been married 31 years to the same wonderful woman, and I believe in that whole sickness and health and all that stuff, but I didn't know that like sickness included menopause. I didn't see that coming. I never know what the temperature is going to be in my house. When I go home this morning, it could be, 140 in the house, or 5 below. I have no idea. It was a few years ago. It was like 2 degrees where I live in Billerica, 2 degrees. And it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, usually, work 12 hours in the pharmacy and then do 3 shows like a normal person. And I'm driving up my street. I'm thinking, oh, my God, I can't believe how cold it is. I can't believe my bedroom window is wide open. The curtain blowing out across the street. You can see waves of heat, And I'm thinking what my mother used to say, what do you want to heat up the whole goddamn neighborhood or something? I said, well, yeah, evidently that lunatic does, because the guy across the street got his windows wide open going, come on, let's go. I go in the house, she's standing in the kitchen, and every fan in the house is on, by the way, too. There's an overhead oscillating Mexican guy with a big leaf fan like this. She's standing in the kitchen in a leopard snuggie with 1 bare foot and 1 boot, and she's got on a Patriots replica helmet that she's carefully removed the face mask because she's eating a 5-gallon drum of Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. And I don't know what to say. I'm just like, hey, what's up? She goes, you ruined my whole life. I said, I'm looking for hello, but that never came. I try to warn my children. I still have 2 adult children living at home, maybe because they went to UMass Lowell. I don't know. No, actually, only one of them did, but he's still home. I try to warn them. They're 26 and 27, 2 out of the... And I say, look, you can't move out now. I need buffers here. No man should go through this alone. You smoke your pot, do whatever the heck you want. I don't care. You're not leaving, But I try to warn her. I say, look, if Mom's in the kitchen looking a little bloated and red-faced, and she's laying on the floor perhaps just to cool off her forehead on the tile, and let's say she's holding a chainsaw, don't go in there. You might lose a toe or 2. But I want to remind her that I love her. We're going to get through this hormonal imbalance somehow together, So every night I lay down next to her in bed and hug her and kiss her and whisper those 3 little words in her ear just to remind her, don't stab me. When we were younger, it was like it was like that song, "A Body is a Wonderland," And now it gets to the point like, my body is a wonderland, but it's like, I wonder if this is cancerous. I wonder if the hair in my ears are going to get so big that I'm going to go deaf. I wonder if that's a rash or the shingles. I can't sleep unless I'm next to my wife. I did a thing for the Wounded Warriors up in Waterville Valley with Lenny Clark and a bunch of the comedians, no wives, so we all had a good time and everything. Not that you wouldn't have a good time with your wife, but you know what I mean. So we were sleeping together in a condo thing, so I had to sleep in a bed with Frank Santarelli from The Sopranos. Well, not in the same bed, but in the room with him. That's what I'm saying. I'm not like that. Anyway, so... Very important, every word, I think, huh? And so anyway, I come home, my wife said, how did you do? I said, I can't sleep unless you're next to me. It's been like 34 years, and I'm just used to you being next to me and stuff. So I went to bed that night, and she goes, you really couldn't sleep? I said, no, I can't sleep unless you're next to me. And then she started with the Obama, Rama, and oh, Paula, Walla, and I was all like a light. The point is, she bores me to sleep, is what I'm trying to say. Because we've been married for a long time. Things change. Little things change over a long course of a relationship. So 25 years ago, people have been married for a long time. Sharing has changed. I remember sharing 25 years ago. I won $20 on one of those scratch ticket things, and I thought, oh, this is great. I ran out to the car. I give her $10. I said, hey, look at how lucky. I love you so much. Now, last week, I'm hiding down my cellar, listening for her to come down the stairs. If she finds out I spent $20 on this, she's going to kill me. I know. Oh, but if I win $4 million, I am so out of here. I think I'm done. Thanks a lot, everybody, for having me here today. And a big round of applause for everybody here. Back to Eileen Donahue. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is that okay?
Let's hear it for Artie Gennario. Thank you so much, and I know really and truly I want to thank sincerely each and every person who was up here who did such a great job, who came out to celebrate this day. I want to give special thanks to some of our sponsors. John Chemley of Trinity Ambulance, thank you so much for your sponsorship. Mike Kunzler of All Sports Wear Smart, thank you for contributing and supporting this. Special thanks to the Lowell High School Choir as well as the ROTC, which made this a very special event. I want to also thank, in particular, the City of Lowell. Chris Samaras did such a wonderful job. I want to thank my staff, Kara Keefe, and all my staff who've been here. And I really want to thank all of you for continuing this support. And the manager's going to come up in a minute, but I'll leave you with these closing thoughts. My grandmother, Catherine Begley Donahue, used to say to us on St. Patrick's Day, it's so important to spend St. Patrick's Day with saints and scholars. So I clearly have 2 more stops at least to make today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eileen. And let me just recognize a couple more people that I missed earlier. Sula Mayer, our assessor, is here. Skip Pitter, our fire chief. Ralph Snow, our DPW director. We have Matt Coggins, former DPD director for the city of Lowell. And truly, the saint in the city of Lowell, Deputy School Superintendent Ann Murphy. I don't know how you do it. Let me echo Eileen's comments regarding the sponsorship of Mike and John Chemley from Trinity Ambulance. All-Star and Trinity have stepped up to the plate this year to help us with this. It's been a great cause, a lot of fun here this morning, but certainly the important thing is the cause of the Merrimack Valley Food Bank, and we appreciate all your effort in getting out here early this morning and laughing at jokes and having a good time. And I think that's really what this is all about, pulling the community together for a good cause and just having a lot of fun. So I also want to thank Chris Samaras, Kara Keefe, Donna McIntosh from my office, Linda Clark. I also want to thank the Marie Sweeney and Janet Leggett, who put together all these lists for us. It's not easy work. And Hannah from the from our cool office as well. And again, thank you for all for being here. We'll be back here next year. I know that, and it'll be just as good. Thank you.